everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Charlene, and today I'm going to be doing the Jane Austen book tag. Honestly, I was hoping to get to this tag in March because Anne from In Search of Wonder and I are doing a year-long Jane Austen read-along, and we didn't have a video planned for March, so I thought that would be the perfect month to go ahead and do it, but I ended up running out of time, unfortunately, so you're getting it in April instead. But also, as a side note, as always, when I do any video related to Jane Austen this year, I do have a cup of tea with me instead of my normal coffee. This one, I can't really show you the bag because it didn't come in a bag. It came in a little tin. And it's also one that is technically not available outside of a sample set, which is kind of frustrating. But this is one called Coconut Snow Chai, and it is available from Adagio, but it's only available in their, I think it's called Frosty Faves sample pack, or Frosty Favorites. I don't remember which it is now. If I can find it, because sometimes it is hard to find for some reason, but if I can find a link to the sample pack, I will leave it linked down in the description below. Pretty much all of the teas in this sample pack are related to Christmas time, or at least winter, but I still had some left over that I was trying to finish up, so I went ahead and made it for today. I do really like this tea though. It does have coconut, and it is delicious. But I'm going to have to figure out something else to get next year because I don't necessarily like all of the teas in the sample pack, and I don't want to have to pay for it if I'm not going to drink all of it. But I am going to enjoy what's left of it. Hello everyone, Future Charlene here, because apparently I forgot something 2 videos in a row. But in this case, I forgot to mention who originally created this tag and who I was tagged by. So this book tag was created by Morgan from Morgan's Endless Bookshelf, and I was tagged by Kelly from Bookish Kelly. All of the questions in this tag are related to Jane Austen's works. I'm also going to note that while I was trying to come up with answers for this tag, I tried very hard not to pick other classics, since all of the questions in this tag are based on classics already. I didn't necessarily succeed with every question, but most of them I did. So now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the tag. The first question is Sense and Sensibility, a book about family. And for that one, I'm going to go with A Winter's Promise by Christelle Dabo. Now, this might not mean family in the way that the person who wrote the question originally thought, but this book is very much about family. So to explain this a little, there are arcs that people live on. They're completely separate from each other. And the arc that the main character, Ophelia, lives on, everyone is family, everyone is related to each other. And she gets betrothed to a man on another arc, and there, not everyone is necessarily related to each other, and there are family groups. And so it's a lot about learning about the different families. Each of the families has a different magical ability, and it's learning the politics of all of these families and getting to know her fiance and her fiance's family and all of that. So family does play a big role in this book, even if it's not in the same way that it does in Sense and Sensibility. Question number 2 is Pride and Prejudice, a book that deserves the hype. And for that one, I am going with The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I think at this point, most people have read this book, but if you haven't read this one, I would definitely recommend checking it out. It follows 2 sisters in France during the French occupation. One is basically wanting to do what she can to get by, to keep her and her daughter alive, and the other sister is wanting to join the resistance. It is a really good book, really well told story, highly recommend. Question number 3 is Mansfield Park, an introverted main character. And for this one, I'm going with a recent read, and that is Cecilia by Frances Burney. I haven't actually finished this book at the time of filming, but there have been plenty of things at the beginning of this book that very much speak to my introvert heart. Mostly in the fact that when Cecilia arrives in London, she is constantly being taken to meet all these different people and go to different parties and gatherings, and she just wants to spend time with her best friend, or I should say her childhood friend. She just wants to spend one-on-one time with her, but keeps getting taken to meet all of these different people, and I felt that to my very core. So I was trying not to put other classics on this list, but Cecilia was the first one that came to mind because it's very fresh in my mind. Question number 4 is Emma, the best male character. And I really couldn't pick any other character except for Aragorn from The Lord of the Rings. I feel like he's probably going to be a popular choice with this tag, but there's no one else that I could think of to pick for this answer. So we're going with him. And if you've read the books or even watched the movies, you know. Question number 5 is Northanger Abbey, a bookish main character. And for this one, I'm actually going with a middle grade, and the title of the book she's in is going to make it fairly obvious, but that is Emily from Book Scavenger by Jennifer Chambliss Bertman. The fact that it's called Book Scavenger, I feel it makes it obvious that of course she's going to be a bookish character. But Emily does read a lot of books. She is part of this book scavenger community where people hide books and leave clues online so people can go find them. She solves clues and puzzles and finds the books. So this felt like a very good character to go with. Question number 6 is Persuasion, a second chance romance. And for this one, I'm going to go with The Fifth Avenue Story Society by Rachel Hawke. I just read this book last year, but there is a couple in this book who are divorced and they meet together in the society, not knowing that the other person was invited to join it as well. And it gives them a chance to potentially rekindle their romance. Question number 7 is Lady Susan, a book with an unlikable main character. And I had a hard time not grabbing a classic for this one because I really wanted to grab Wuthering Heights because there's almost no likable characters in this book, period, much less the main characters. But like I said, I was trying not to pick classics for the answers to these questions because they're all based on classic novels. So instead, I'm going with The Red Queen by Philippa Gregory. This is also one that I just read last year, but the main character, Margaret Beaufort, is very much an unlikable character. I still really enjoyed the book, I still enjoyed what I learned from it, but she is not a likable character. Question number 8 is Sandition and The Watsons, an unsatisfactory ending. And for this one, I'm going to throw out a controversial opinion. And I'm going to say If I Run by Terry Blackstock. Now, I'm not saying it's an unsatisfactory ending because of the fact that the main plot of the story, the whole reason the character is on the run, doesn't wrap up. I realize this is something that takes all 3 books to wrap up. The thing that makes this book have an unsatisfactory ending is the secondary mystery. Honestly, I read this one and I just thought, this doesn't even make sense. We have another mystery, something people haven't figured out that's, we'll say the beginning of this mystery began months ago. Like we'll say at least 2 or 3 months prior to the main character showing up in this town. And somehow within just a couple of weeks, the main character is not only able to figure out the answer to this secondary mystery, but is also able to bring about a satisfactory resolution. No. Sorry, but no. I don't buy it. I don't think the second mystery was even necessary. So that part of the book was just very unsatisfactory to me. And I know this trilogy is very well loved. I am sorry, but I couldn't continue the series after that because I had a feeling that was going to be a pattern in the other 2 books. I didn't like it in the first book. I knew I wasn't going to like it in later books. So those are all the questions in this book tag. I don't know for sure who has been tagged and who hasn't. So if you haven't been tagged and you want to do this one, consider yourself tagged. However, I am going to tag Anne from In Search of Wonder. If you've been tagged, you're just getting tagged again. But since we're doing the Jane Austen read along together, it makes sense that I tag her to do this. If you only want to answer some of the questions, or if you don't have a booktube channel, feel free to leave your answers to the questions down in the comments below. Also, let me know if you agree that The Nightingale is worth the hype, or if you think that there is another book by her that is more worth the hype. Other than that, I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I'll see you later.